Hi, I'm Wade from Thoroughbred Diesel, and today we're going to teach you how to change your stock fuel filter on your 2000 to 2002 VP44 truck. This is my wife's 2001 VP44 truck. Jumped in it today to bring it to the shop because I knew that she was needing an oil change. And I started to head down the road to work, and I started to notice that her BD, low fuel pressure light, was starting to flicker just a smidge. See that right there? So if you guys have seen our low pressure fuel light installation video, you know that the low fuel pressure, the BD low pressure light, it starts to flicker at less than 5 psi lift pump pressure. Well, this means that my wife probably needs for me to also change her fuel filter. So I got to thinking about it, and I said, you know what? We've never done a stock fuel filter change on these, or a stock fuel filter change video on one of these trucks. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to show you how to change the fuel filter. We're also going to show you how to change it correctly, and hopefully be able to teach you how to prime the truck if we run into that situation. I'm going to give you some other tips and tricks. Also, hopefully we're going to show you how to change it without you having to reprime the truck. It's going to be a real smooth changeover, but if not, it'll be a learning process either way. So let's get started. Before we change the fuel filter on this 2001 Dodge, I want to talk just about a couple of different situations that you may run into with this. Now, first off, if you don't know what your lift pump pressure is, you can take the fuel filter out of this truck doing routine maintenance, and the truck will not start back. Okay, you took the fuel filter out and it's not going to start back because the lift pump won't pick a prime up. Lift pump's trashed. She's not going to do it. But now your question to that is, well, how is my truck running? A good VP44, a VP44 that is in good condition, it will pull its own fuel. It will actually pull the vacuum on the fuel system. It will pull its own fuel. The truck will be a little bit doggy, but you know, it will do that. So be aware of that. You can do this and have a non-run truck. So make sure that you've got fuel pressure. That's the first thing. If you got fuel pressure, this should be a pretty cut and dry job. Let's get started. First thing I like to do with these trucks is I like to open the water separator on them, and I'm going to take a bucket, I'm going to put it underneath the truck before we get started to catch what residual fuel and water that we get here. Now, talk about this just a little bit. This is the second situation that you run into. If you do this, you go for this water separator, and this water separator doesn't act like it wants to open, hey, don't open it. Don't fool with it. Don't screw around with it. Don't do nothing. Because if you break the water separator, you're going to have to buy the water separator new. You may have to buy the whole bowl new, just depending on what you run into there. It can cause you a leak down situation where the truck's hard starting, blah, 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 blah. I know this water separator is good, so I'm just going to go ahead and open it and then see if I get any water out of it. If I don't get any water out of it, that's good. I got just a little bit came out there, you can see. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut that down. All right, now we're gonna wanna go ahead and take the top off of this. This is your throttle cable here, so make sure that you keep this out of your way. This is the vacuum line for going down to for your four-wheel drive. You wanna make sure that if this comes unplugged, get it plugged back in, or your four-wheel drive's not gonna work, or your cruise control's not gonna work. I'm sorry, that's cruise control vacuum line. Lost my mind today. All right, so go ahead and take the top off of this canister. This is a slick little tool if you're ever looking to get one of these. This is a 29 metric tool from Snap-on, and it's for the Dodge fuel canisters. So nice little investment if you guys want to spend some money on the Snap-on truck this week. That might be a good one for you. So you just go ahead. Now, you're probably wondering if you've got one of these trucks and you don't know the difference. I said this is the fuel filter change for the 2000 and 2002 model. The 98 and the 99s have a different fuel bowl on them. The fuel bowl actually drops out, what I call it, drops out from the bottom, for lack of a better word. Totally different setup, and it's a totally different filter too. So if you got a 98 and 99 truck and you go after your fuel filter after watching this and it's a different setup, you will know why now. All right. So what I like to do when I'm going for this is I just like to really slowly remove my fuel filter, because I like for it to drain all back into the canister. This helps me. There's a rubber O-ring on the snout of that. This helps me to catch all of the fuel back in the canister, so that's going to help me with my start back. The less fuel I lose, the better chance I don't have to reprime the truck. So I'll let her drain there as best I can. That fuel filter looks pretty good. So I'd say what I've got is a lift pump that's getting weak. So we'll go ahead and ease this filter out. Again, I'm trying to keep as much fuel in the bowl as I can. Look down in the inside of the bowl, see if there's any sediments or any dirt inside of there as well. That looks pretty clean, so we're in good shape. All right, she's just about done leaking here. Let that sit right there and get my pan out. All right. Trying to make less mess. We'll move over here to our pan. To remove the fuel filter from the cap, you just pry the cap away from it. Be easy on this because these are older trucks, plastic. We talk about this all the time. Just make sure that you get that out. Make sure the rubber O-ring on the old filter came with it, so that came off. So now we're good there. Now, there is an O-ring on the cap. You want to just remove that O-ring. Go ahead and pull that off. Alrighty. Your O-ring, I don't like to do that on the fuse box. You get a new O-ring for your cap. Comes inside the filter package here. So let's get our O-ring on first. Cap. By this point in the job, you've probably got enough diesel fuel on your hands to lubricate this O-ring correctly. So we'll just go ahead and run that up into its groove on the cap there, as you can see. Then we're going to go ahead and, with the open end of the filter going down, we just pop our new fuel filter in the cap just like that. Now, here's where it gets just a little bit tricky. Putting your new fuel filter in, you want to be really, really easy with this. Because when you do this, if you do this right, again, you ain't gonna have to prime the truck. So I try to push my fuel filter down as easily as I can. And what I'm trying not to do is I'm trying not to splash any of the fuel that was in the canister out, just like I did right there. So ease my filter down real easy here. Getting your throttle cable away. If you push it down too fast, the fuel is going to run out of the top. So I just let the filter absorb the fuel that's in the canister. Just like so. Don't cross thread the top. I like to, once I get it started, I try to work it backwards a little bit here. Keep going down with it. And if you keep working backwards and going down with it, that'll keep you from cross threading your cap. If you cross thread the cap and you're doing this on a Saturday, guess what? You're going to be down again because you're going to have a fuel leak. So once I'm confident I've got it where I want it, go ahead and tighten my cap down. Okay. Just snug her down until you know that the O-ring's made contact, and that is going to be good enough. Now it's time to put your money where your mouth is and see if you've done this job without having to re-bleed the truck. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start the truck. It should make it all the way through. It should not die. If it dies, then I'm gonna show you what to do on that. Now, you can do a couple different things right here. If you wanna not even take this risk, what you can do is you can open the return line banjo bolt on the VP44, and let me show you that. Right here is your return line. This is your line that's closest to your radiator. What you can do is you can loosen that bolt and you can bump the starter for the lift pump to run. In fact, I'm going to do that right now and just show you that. We talk about that all the time, bumping the starter for your lift pump to run. I'm going to do that.
I'll have to come out here for them to hear it.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So you'll hear that. When you bump the starter on a Dodge, that'll let the lift pump run. It's 30-second cycle or whatever it is, 15, 20 seconds. That's one way of just trying to make sure that you're going to have you know, a start condition here that you're not going to have to do a bunch of priming. But I wanted to work through that. Bump the starter on these trucks. That will make your lift pump run. If it does not, then then it is electronically at a position where the ECM is not going to let the lift pump run a 30-second cycle. It's just going to bump and it'll energize and then not run. If that happens, you can apply power to the lift pump, but that's not the situation here. We're okay there. So truck should start. We should be in good shape. Gonna let the truck run for just a little while. We should be fine here. If it was gonna quit, it would have already quit. You're gonna wanna check for leaks. Make sure that the water separator valve on the bottom of the fuel bowl is not leaking any fuel out of it. Look for leaks around the top of the truck and we should be good to go. Now, shut this off. Cover a couple more things here. Let's say that you start this, you weren't able to have this happen for you and the truck stops, so now you've got to bleed. We've covered this several times, but it's worth mentioning again. What is the first step that I do, Wade? First step is do what I told you. Open up the return line bolt, just loosen the return line bolt, bump the starter, make the lift pump run its cycle. Once it runs its cycle, you should have pressure to the injection pump at that time. You will know that by there will be a steady stream of fuel that will leak out of the return line bolt and it will run down the return line. It'll be dripping. You've got a drip there coming from the return side with a lift pump run. Now just the lift pump run, no cranking, just the lift pump running its cycle. Then you know you've got fuel to the VP44 and the VP44 itself is primed. Then it's time to go up top. If you're cranking and you're getting a no start condition, that means you've still got air in the lines from the VP44 to the injectors. Okay, what do you do in that situation? You open up the number 1, 3, and 4 injector lines, and by opening them, we talk about this all the time as well, just loosen up the number 1. Not all the way, just loosen it. Open up the number 1, 3, and 4. Have someone crank a truck for you. Crank until you get fuel at the top. When you get fuel at the top, tighten the lines down. Sometimes you can do it by not opening up all 3. You can open up 1 and that'll process enough air. Truck will start, everything will be great. But again, the most important part of this is making sure that you have good lift pump pressure, because if you don't have good lift pump pressure, even if you do this job thinking, okay, I've got 0 lift pump pressure, I'm going to change my fuel filter. Even with a really bad fuel filter, unless it's full of water or whatever, you should have some sort of lift pump pressure. You've got to make sure that you've got that. 01 or 2000, 2002 Dodges, you've got a Schrader valve. It's on the side of the VP44 pump. You can check fuel pressure there. Get a fuel pressure gauge from an AutoZone or O'Reilly's. They screw right onto that Schrader valve. That's the easiest way to check it. Hopefully you got a fuel pressure gauge in your truck. We talk about this a lot as well. You should be monitoring fuel pressure in these trucks. So, you know, this is just kind of quick how-to. How do I change my fuel filter on my 2002 truck? 98, 99 trucks, Adam, maybe we'll find somebody with one and we'll do a fuel filter change on that, so we show you how to do that. Process is just the same, it's just a little bit different on the fuel filter. So you've got an O-ring on the stem on the 98 to 99s that you need to change, but the process is still pretty well the same. Try to maintain the fuel filter in the bowl. When you put the new fuel filter in it, don't splash down when you put the fuel filter in it, and you should have a starting truck and running truck, no problem. You shouldn't have to do any bleeding. So quick video on how to do this, how to change the fuel filter in a 2000 to 2002 Dodge. If you have any questions about this or any of our other videos, please give us a call, like and subscribe to our channel, and thank you for watching.